Here on Spectrum Sound BITEZ, BITEZ, unapologetic, unbroken banner, today's topic is about healthcare. I'm going to put this on my caution tape and remove my caution tape because this subject is it doesn't need to have no one to close mouths because closed mouths won't get fed. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going into a dilemma in 2026 when it comes to healthcare. Recently, I saw a movie called John Q, and I'm going to tell you my personal opinion on it. You can look on me on TikTok on Straight Talk ×3 because I believe a lot of people are going to talk about it. My main concern is why the doctors are not intervening with this new bill that's coming into the fiscal season of 2006. And the reason why I projected it is because they themselves did not like affordable health care. They didn't like the Obama plan because the Obama plan was micromanaging them. And I remember back in the days, because I myself was once in a healthcare physician, and I remember not as a physician, but being in the environment. And because I'm retired and I pretty much was on the Allied Healthcare Services. And I used to see how these doctors used to generate and pretty much overcharge for certain type of procedures. And don't get me wrong, we all work hard and these things they're very cost effective. The medicines, the assessments, the this and so forth. And hospitals generate money drastically when it comes. And a lot of hospitals look for the aid and assessments and they need all the essentials they can to back up the revenue. Now, we're looking at the time where we're seeing people are getting sick because due to stress. When I looked at the movie, there was a segment on there where a nurse was pretty much having a talking piece because according to sources in the movie of John Q, Denzel Washington played a father who was a working class and he was an All-American alongside with his wife. And they had a son, and come to find out they did not realize he had a pre-existing illness. Within that illness, it caused him where his body became static and became chronic, where he needed a certain surgery to be done. But his health insurance from the father's side, because considering the fact he worked, was not enough because they put him in a certain type of tier. And you remember HMO. HMO was very scary to a lot of people. As I was saying about HMO, the scare tactic of HMO was that they did not pay the full pardon when it came to medical bills and even other essentials that they needed to add on to the extra expenditures. So what really happened as the movie goes on, he ends up doing something that he never would think that he'd do. But you know what? When your back is against the wall and you become a parent, desperate times for desperate measures. In the whole entire segment of the case, he pretty much, because they said that this was an event on a parent who pretty much had done something drastic, where he ends up getting himself, putting himself into heavy waters. Yeah, but they didn't tell too much of what happened, what was the aftermath of that. The whole proximity of it is, how can America go back to the time of affordable and then go back to the traditional of a reverse, actually, of not having no health insurance. And, for the people who work and have a take-home check and have to have a stipend every single week or every 2 weeks just to get the deductibles to pay, this is not going to be a good course for anybody. And also to the retirees, to the veterans, and even people who are basically have chronic diseases like diabetics, people with heart problems, people that need surgery, pre-existing diseases, all kinds of stuff like that. And what really, like I said, what baffles me is the doctors are not saying anything. The doctors are keeping a hush-hush mode. Because did you know, like I said previously before, when doctors have a contract with the insurance plan, the less money they use for the expenditures, the more kickbacks they get from the insurance way and is for the doctors. That's something that you guys should need to know. And moreover, sometimes, chances are they tell you have a good bill of health, but why are you still having these chronic problems? Okay? And, the communications And it's so much with healthcare, especially with people in the minority pool and even people that's minority and women. What we've been fighting for all these years now went straight into the toilet and has been flushable mode, where everything that we had worked for, it went into vain. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to just deal with the aftermath of it. But why should we? We work so hard. Why should we have to? Why we can't have something silver platter based on all the work tactics that we did? And they try to use the backward thing saying, oh, because we're feeding to people who are foreign born from other countries. Yeah, but you guys do it anyway. But what about the people who are here and working and they need their essentials of healthcare? So this is Black Pearl. And some of y'all have known me from TikTok with Straight Talk times 3. But I'm right here on the podcast of Spectrum Sound BITEZ, BITEZ, unapologetic, unfiltered. And I have to take off my caution tape, ladies and gentlemen, because it's time for us to do that. You know, knowledge is power, but I always say closed mouths don't get fed. And trust me, it's not about the feeding proportion, it's the knowledge. And it's for us to open up our mouths and say something. Because I believe that the healthcare is going to be a detriment to a lot of people, and especially with people, whether they have pre-existence or not, or chronic illness, you still need a peace of mind. We got to think about our safety and security now. Our safety and security is our more proportion. You know, we need our food, we need our shelter, we need our water, and we need our health care. Tonight, I'm going to take off my caution tape. You hear me. I am Black Pearl. I'm going to take off my caution tape.